You're overloading yourself and you only notice after the fact. You want to be able to catch so that you can have a smoother schedule and be less burned out. Hello, welcome back to Align Your Day. This is Jennifer Annapolis, your certified life coach, and I'm so excited to kind of uncover and unpack what I had introduced you to. So let's ask the key question here. Why does this happen? What is a very most probable key or reason why this is happening? Why are you overloading yourself and then only realizing it after the fact? You say you want to get better at committing to things that are actually true for you. You say you want to make sure that you're, following what feels good to you and only saying yes to what's empowering and not overloading yourself, all those things. But why does it always seem to keep happening? A really big key and probable cause for this, not only one obviously, but something to look into that I encourage you, is that you're responding to these new commitments from a dysregulated state, okay? And what does this mean, Jenna? Like, what the hell? Break this down. So let's say that, let's give the example of maybe you're overcommitting yourself at work and you only realize it after you look at your schedule for the week and it's packed with 17 meetings and you're like, how did I get myself involved with all these things, right? I'm sure we've all been there. You might even resonate right now. So this can happen because when let's say your manager comes up, right, and gives you an ask, whether it be, hey, can you help me out with this new initiative we have? Hey, whatever, can you take on this task, whatever. When that initial commitment is brought to you, right, you might find yourself already in a dysregulated or a stressed state. And when your body, aka when your nervous system actually is in this stress state, it's gonna respond, you're gonna most likely respond from habitual responses. You're gonna respond based on what you know works to help you with stress, okay? Works to help you feel safe in a stressful situation. And so, most likely if you resonate with this video, you might resonate also with being a people pleaser, right? So when your manager comes up and asks you for this ask, you might be in that dysregulated state and you'll respond based on what your habitual response would be, which might be, in the case of keeping yourself safe from stress, it might be that people pleasing mentality, right? Maybe in the household in your past, you had to make sure that your parents felt good so that you didn't feel stressful or you didn't feel unsafe. And so it's showing up now in the workplace, or it's showing up now, in your schedule with your friends. It's showing up because you might be in a stress state, and that will lead you to respond based on what your body knows works when you're stressed, okay? This is not a conscious thing. You're not thinking, okay, I'm in stress right now, so I'm going to respond based on what I know worked from childhood, which is my people-pleasing response. And so I'm just going to say yes because I know that's going to make my manager happy, right? You may not consciously be thinking that, but on a subconscious level, your nervous system is always being trying to wire to keep you safe, right? Is trying to always kind of use its system in order to keep you safe, in order to keep you basically, safe is the best way I can describe it. So if your subconscious knows that people pleasing, for instance, kept you safe from stress in the past, it's going to bring that in now when you're in that stress state and when you have to say yes or no to a commitment to your boss, let's say. You might automatically just say yes without thinking about it and then only realize after the fact because you were in that stress state, and your subconscious, your nervous system will respond in a very habitual way without even you realizing it, okay? So that's what could be happening. I'm going to give the example as to what's happening for me right now in the sense of when I drive sometimes. So just to give you background, this will help kind of connect the dots. Just to give you another example. So I got into a car accident in 2021, and it was basically because the person in front of me was braking really hard and I couldn't brake as fast. And so sometimes when I see the car in front of me have its brake lights on, very subconsciously, I can feel my body get into a tense, almost freak out zone for a second, and then I hit the brake. Sometimes I'm not a bad driver. Don't worry. I know that I can handle the situation, but I'm just giving you as an example. I could feel a little bit of tension, and I start to kind of be a little bit more cautious on the road because my nervous system already knows. Oop! It has that signal of oop, that the brake lights, and it sends me into a little bit more of a a stress response, and it'll send me to that automatic behavior, which is like hitting my brake a little bit, right? So it's this ties into, right, what I'm telling you about your possible people pleasing or your response in stress during work. This can happen because it almost happens automatically. And that's why you might catch it after the fact. It's because it's subconscious, right? When you are in that more stressed state, you will respond based on what's going to work to keep you safe from stress. And so that's why it might be happening, right? That's why you might be noticing it after the fact. So now you might be thinking, right? Cool, Jenna, that's amazing. Love the technical nervous system stuff. How can I apply this so that I can stop finding myself in this situation, right? Okay, so what is really key for you to start to do when it comes to, really managing your schedule better, really ensuring that you're saying yes to what feels good to you and not overloading yourself? A really big key, right, is to start to understand what are your own stress cues, what are your own stress responses, and what are some tools, it can be very little, what are some little tools or signals you can start to implement during the day to show your body that you're safe and to bring yourself back into a calm, more regulated state, so that when you're approached with new things at work, when maybe something new comes up in your relationships or your friendships, you can, as much as you can, be in that present mode, be in a more calm, regulated state, and you can choose what you're going to respond. You can choose to respond versus find yourself in that stress state and then almost come out with a habitual reaction, right? This is what people say, respond versus react. Well, it's going to be a lot easier to respond when you're in a calm, regulated state, when you understand your own stress signals, and when you can ensure that as much as possible throughout the day, you're helping regulate yourself, you're keeping yourself calm as you can, so you can respond from that empowered place versus that automatic reaction, which probably for a lot of you is people pleasing, is saying yes, is just overloading yourself and not thinking about what your own needs are, because that's what worked in the past, right? That's what might have worked in your family in the past, was just, making sure that you felt safe. And so in order for you to feel safe, you felt you had to people please to your parents or whoever else was watching at the time, right? So that's really, really key. And so you can ask Jenna, okay, how do I start to become aware of my own stress responses and cues? How do I do this? A quick little rundown for you. And if you've listened to my content before, you probably know this already, but I'm going to bring this up again because it's so key. This is my nervous system PDF. So just a little PDF I made to give you a visual of your nervous system and what the goal here is when it comes to keeping yourself less stressed and more empowered throughout your day. So you can see these two horizontal lines here. And if you're listening to the podcast, you can look at the associated window of tolerance PDF for you, just so you have an idea of what's going on. So this PDF, right, so it has these two horizontal lines. The space in between these two horizontal lines is your window of tolerance. This is the goal that you want to find yourself in as much as you can throughout your day. When you're in your window of tolerance, you are in that present state. You're feeling more calm. You're feeling more empowered. When challenges approach you, you're going to be able to respond to them with more grace, with more ease, because you're feeling present. Your nervous system doesn't feel like it's under threat, okay? So as much as you can, you want to bring yourself to this state. And to give yourself a good idea of maybe what it feels like to be in this window of tolerance, in your window of tolerance, because you might even be like, Jenna, it's hard to tell nowadays with the amount of stress we have going on in our society. It's hard to even tell, when are we actually feeling regulated? When are we actually feeling safe and calm and not feeling like there's a threat, whether that threat be your workload, whether that threat be, worries about your friends or partners or what the world's going to bring the next day, right? When, what does it actually feel like to be in that window of tolerance state? And I would tell you, think about the last time you felt really basically really present, not as, maybe your head wasn't going off with 1,000 different thoughts. You were feeling like, okay, maybe it was like a moment where something that would have normally ticked you off didn't, and you were able to respond to it from a more present place or respond to it differently. Think about if you can, think of any moments that were like that for you and what it felt like. Okay, so just kind of ask yourself, maybe what were some moments that something might have happened that it didn't completely throw you over and it normally would. that's when you're probably in your window of tolerance, or just moments lately throughout your workday where maybe you felt really at flow, you felt really present, you felt really focused. Usually when you're in focus and flow, that can also indicate that you're in a pretty present, regulated response. So that's what it would feel like. That's our goal, right? As much as we can, we want to start to show ourselves and our bodies we're safe, we can stay present, because when we stay present, we can start to choose our responses more versus acting out of behavior, acting out of condition, right? So that's really key. So that's like our goal, right? And I'm sure you can get to this place if you have like a meditation practice you like, or maybe like a religious spiritual practice that you like to tap into, or maybe just when you go outside in nature, you feel really grounded and present. That's kind of the goal, right? As much as we can, you want to build your nervous system to be able to grow that window of tolerance and handle more challenges, handle more daily stressors with more ease. And that happens when you bring yourself to that calm state and know what works to keep you in that calm, regulated state, right? So that's the goal here. That's what it feels like. Think about that last time, and that's what it could feel like to be in that window of tolerance. And then secondly, the goal is to start to grow that window of tolerance and start to really understand what are my stress signals and how can I show my body I'm safe. And as you do that, as you build that muscle, your window of tolerance will begin to grow. And basically, in layman's terms, what this means, when you're under more stress at work, when more obstacles come up, when new challenges come up, you're going to be able to respond to them with more grace, with more ease, with more opportunity in your mind, because your mind will be in its learning brain. And you will feel more empowered because you won't be in that stress response, right? So you're gonna respond in new ways, and you're not gonna keep yourself in old patterns of overloading yourself, of saying yes because it's out of condition or out of people pleasing. You're gonna start to choose and start to respond from a more present place, even in regards to new challenges, because you've grown that muscle of being able to handle more stress with more ease. And like I said, growing that window of tolerance comes from knowing your own stress signals and building up that muscle of showing yourself you're safe. And this can be through little signals like finding a breathing technique that works for you. Little signals like, looking out at your window throughout the workday, just to kind of get your eyes off the screen and getting out of that stress response of always being focused on the screen. And I have a bunch of little signals you can start to implement throughout your workday to grow your nervous system and to grow this window of tolerance. I have a bunch of signals for you in my free 5-day email guide. So if you want to start to apply this and really start to be like, okay, I'm here for myself, I want to start to commit to little things each day to show myself I'm safe, to start to regulate my nervous system more so I can respond with more ease and not catch myself after the fact being super stressed. If you want that for you, I really encourage you to go download that free guide. It's going to be really helpful. So I just have that below it. If you could download it below my podcast or this YouTube. So that's kind of the goal here, right? And this brings me to the next point, right? Because obviously we want to grow our nervous system tolerance, and we want to know our own stress cues and our own stress signals. Well, Jenna, what does it mean to know your own stress cues, to know your own stress signals? Okay. So let me go back to that nervous system visual here, okay? These two lines, and we talked about the window of tolerance, which is the space between those two lines, okay? When you're in a stress response, when your nervous system is starting to feel like it's under threat, and this can happen if you're stressed at work, this can happen if whatever brings you stress during the day, basically, right? Whenever you're entering a stress response and you're starting to exit that good window of tolerance, you're going to respond in two ways. So you can either find yourself when you're in a stress response above this top line, right? This basically means you're hyper aroused. So this can indicate that this happens when you're in that state that feels more anxious, when you're feeling angry, when you're feeling agitated, when you have thought spirals that are going off. That's when you realize, oh shoot, I'm really out of my window of tolerance, and it can mean that you get hyper aroused. So basically the importance of knowing this is understanding when you're in that state, what you need to do is little signals that help calm you down, that bring you back down to more present state. So whether that be little things like that nature walk, right? Whether that be little things like literally that take 30 seconds of like something little you can start to do actually is to like twirling your hair. And I have this in my 5-day guide. Twirling your hair is actually something that brings you down. You could do some flossing that helps bring you to more presence. Little signals, right, that you can start to implement in your day once you know that you're in that state, right? You need to do things that bring you down, that calm you down. So that's one response. The second response can be if your nervous system tends to go below this bottom line. This can mean that when you're stressed, you tend to respond and become detached, right? So you tend to become detached, and you can actually go from hyper-aroused to hypo-aroused. But just to kind of help you understand, when you're stressed, it can also be like when you're feeling detached, right? So when you're feeling like you're thinking about something else during the workday, your mind's always going off to like just thinking about something else, not really being present. You're feeling like you don't really want to engage with people, or you're not feeling really super like in touch with life. Maybe you're feeling a little bit more quote unquote depressed, or feeling like you're not really present here, right? Feeling like you're detached is the best way to explain it. That's what it can indicate, that your nervous system is falling below this bottom line, and you need to do things. You need to have many signals in place to bring more aliveness, to bring more energy back into your body and into your nervous system. So this can be little signals, like I have them in my 5-day guide. It can be eating spicy food. It can be doing 10 jumping jacks. It can be standing up. It could be drinking something cold. It could be splashing your face with water, right? So little signals throughout the day when you start to realize, oop, my body or my nervous system is going into that place where I'm starting to feel detached. I need to do things that bring more aliveness into my body. And like I said, the key is to start to become aware of your stress signals, so you know whether you need to do mini signals that bring you down, that calm you down, or you need to do things that bring some aliveness, bring some energy into your body, right? There's a two-parter here. I think sometimes people only tend to focus on do something that calms you down, do something that calms you down. You actually might need signals. If you're that person that gets detached during stress, you might need little signals that actually help you bring more aliveness into your body, get some more zest going within you, right? So you might need to do things that actually hype you up a little bit. So you might need to have like a little dance session and like wrap things out and really get into your body and dance it out and bring more aliveness into you. And that can bring you back to a more present, empowered state. So I just wanted to help you become aware of there's two types of responses. And you need to start to be aware of, what do I usually do when I'm stressed, and what signals do I need in order to bring myself back to this good window of tolerance, right? And so just as like a leading follow-up to this, and I think it's gonna be really helpful for you, is you might ask, Jenna, I don't even know like what my stress signals or what my stress cues are when I get stressed, right? I tend to just like only realize it after the fact, right? So what you can actually do here is, and I walk through a detailed exercise with my clients with this, so we can really start to understand their own nervous system and what works for them and what their specific stress responses are. But we can do this in a mini way right now between this podcast and the YouTube video. So what you can do is, I'm going to take you through a little bit, very slight little kind of stress identification like scan. So what I want you to do now is, if you have the time, if you have the space, this is going to be like 2 to 3 minutes tops, not that long. I'm going to have you take a couple breaths. Okay. So just take a couple breaths. Just doing a deep inhale. And on the exhale, I want you to drop your jaw, release everything out. Okay. You're doing great. We're gonna do a couple more breaths like this, and I'm gonna count you off. As we inhale and as you exhale, I'm gonna do little counts. So I'm gonna count off for 4 on the inhale. You're gonna hold the breath for 4 and not inhale or exhale. And then when we exhale, I'm gonna count off for 8. Okay, this is just gonna help you calm down a bit and center in. You could even close your eyes if you'd like. We're gonna go ahead and get started. So you're gonna go ahead and inhale. 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Hold, no breath. 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Beautiful. If you need to stretch anything out, if anything feels jittery, I want you to just gently shake out any part of your body that needs to calm down. Just do a gentle shake. If you need to sit down on the ground, if you've been standing to ground yourself, go ahead and do that. If you're feeling a little detached, I want you to do something that brings some aliveness in you. So I want you to stand, I want you to stretch and shake even a bit more. You're safe, you're calm here. And what I love for you to notice is I'm gonna gently ask you to think of something little, nothing big, but something little that's been on your mind, that's been a little bit of a stressor for you. You're safe, I'm with you here. And just bring it to your mind, bring it to your awareness. And as you're thinking of this stressor, as you bring it into your experience right now, I'd love for you to notice, what is your response here? What is your body responding? How is your body responding? Does this bring a little bit of flutter in your chest? Do your hands tense up? Does your jaw feel like it's more tense? Do you just feel like there's thoughts that are starting to race? What's going on here? What are some signals that you're noticing? And just bring whatever comes up. Great job. And I'd love for you now to just either take a mental note, write them down once you get up from this. Just really paying attention to, what does my body show me when I'm stressed? Do my shoulders start to tense up? What's present here? Great job. And I'd love for you now just to welcome in some compassion, saying thank you to yourself for being brave enough to lean into a little stress. Thanking yourself. Taking a deep breath here. Deep inhale. Deep exhale. Drop that jaw. Great, beautiful job you did here. Amazing. And I'd love for you to jot down what came up for you. If you're still feeling a little jittery or a little stressed, I'd love for you to take care of yourself now, to maybe do some more stretches, to go ahead and do a journal dump after if you feel like some thoughts are racing, to do some more breathing sequences like the one I introduced if you need to calm down a bit, just so you're resourced. You're safe here. We're going to do one more breath here. I want you to really focus on what you need. Taking a deep inhale. Deep exhale. Beautiful. And if you want more resources or signals to help you calm down, like I said, just download that free 5-day guide. It'll give you a little list and you can start to implement them right away. If you need more resources, you can always just look up like down or up regulation resources. If you need to calm yourself down or bring yourself back up to more aliveness, and go ahead and do that right now if you need to. I tried to just gently bring a little bit of stressor, so hopefully it didn't bring you in this huge stress response, but I just wanted to give you a little something, a tangible exercise, just so you can start to realize, ooh, okay, this is my signal when I start to feel stressed, so you can start to implement those tools that can either help calm you down or bring you back up, like I mentioned, right? So the reason that we do this, and I do this with my clients, it's called edging. I do this with my clients on a deeper basis. We go into this, I would actually walk you through like, okay, let's calm you down. Let's actually bring you back up. Let's see what you need specifically. I throw a bunch of tools at you so you know like what you need specifically to feel calm, to feel more safe. And we start to build that tolerance up so you can handle more challenges, more stressors in your life with more ease and start to respond from that empowered place versus that subconscious reaction, right? This is all the work that we do, is understanding what your stress responses are. And that happens through that edging process, that mini process I just took you through. Ask yourself, what, do I notice anything different? Do I notice that my jaw was feeling super clenched? Did you notice that you just had some thoughts that were racing? Did you notice that your hands were feeling like really stiff, or your shoulders were feeling tense, or maybe your stomach got really tense? That's one of my stress signals, is when I know that I'm starting to get into my zone, like out of my normal zone, is when my stomach starts to feel really tense and almost like more of like a brick. I know that that's when I'm feeling super stressed and out of my normal range, and I need to do things to kind of calm myself down. So you need to know what are your signals, and you can start to implement those little tools. And this doesn't have to be a long process or spending hours and hours a day calming yourself down. It's just literally having a little list, maybe on your desk, of like, okay, this is what I need when I'm out of my normal zone. These are my signals usually, and this is what I can do. And you just have a list of like 5 to 6 things that you can do to show yourself you're safe, to calm yourself down throughout the day. It doesn't take long. It takes like a minute or so each one. And you just implement them throughout the workday so you can stay more present, more focused, and like I said, respond from an empowered place. And so yeah, that's really key, and that's what I wanted to walk you through today. I hope that was helpful. This whole video is meant to really be an immersive experience for you, right? We talked through why this happens, why you get yourself in these situations when you're overloaded, when you're like, oh my gosh, I have so much on my plate. Why did I say yes to all this? And why it almost happens subconsciously most of the time. We talked about that. We talked about the reason why. We talked about what you need to do in order to start to shift that, which is getting to know your nervous system and giving yourself little cues throughout the day that you're safe. And so building up from there. So hopefully that this was super informative for you. I wanted to make just a really all-encompassing video that you can have a little experience with it, so to tangibly apply it. If you want to take the next steps, go ahead and download my free 5-day guide. If you want to book a call with me, go ahead and do so. But I hope that this gave you just a little bit of insight, more tools, and a deeper answer to taking better control of your schedule and your day, because most of the time, if we're stressed, we're responding subconsciously. And so that's why it's really important to, as much as you can, get out of that stress state and start to build more presence and more regulation into your day. So hopefully this is helpful. Like I said, if you're like, Jenna, I need more of those signals, I need things to help calm myself down, it's all in my 5-day guide, my email guide. And so you can go ahead and do that, and it kind of walks you through how to implement them. And if you want to take this to a deeper level, go ahead and book a call with me. And yeah, because I want you feeling like you're choosing what you say yes to, and you're responding versus always feeling overcome and overburdened by your habitual reactions. It's not fun when that happens, and it feels like your schedule takes control over you versus you taking control over your schedule. And that's why it's really, really key to start this nervous system work, because it's a total game changer. It's more than just mindset. It's getting your body and your mind in tune with basically showing that you're safe, that you can handle challenges, and that you're here for you, which is really important. So if you have any questions, leave them down below on the YouTube, or go ahead and DM me on Instagram if you're listening to the podcast. And I'll talk to you so soon. Hope you have a beautiful day and stay aligned. Bye.